Yeah, he served time.
Okay.
Kushner did. He paid his debt to society. Yeah. That's the end of it.
And the NBC News report, Jessica, says that, this is NBC News saying, that Biden was saying publicly, of course I'm not going to pardon him, but he was privately having conversations saying, of course it's on the table. And this is why no one believed him anyway. Now all the lies, I had the 4 lies, I'm going to add the 5th lie. And this is the one.
I don't disagree with it. He should have just always said, maybe, I don't know. I have to see where the chips fall on this. But
after a big weekend of news with Donald Trump announcing that he will be nominating Kash Patel to head up the FBI, and Joe Biden announcing that he has pardoned his son Hunter, the folks at the Fox propaganda outlet were ready to push as much hypocrisy and Trump defense as possible because they were trying to conflate the pardoning of Hunter Biden, no matter your thoughts on it, as the greatest crime against humanity ever, a complete abandonment of law and order. Well, Kash Patel, someone who participated in January 6th, is this incredible selection by Donald Trump, who will shake things up, just complete lies. And those lies were called out by Jessica Tarloff on Fox in a clip. I can't wait to check out, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this incredible takedown of Trump and of the rest of the Fox host by Jessica Tarloff right here.
Hunter Biden is a classic example of someone who's above the law, because he was never even sentenced. Most of the pardons that we hear about are pardons where someone has served their time, they paid their debt to society, and they're going to end up, getting it removed. It's an impediment going forward. Not this case. We won't even know what his sentence would have been. And then for him to call out the media and selective prosecution is absurd. A jury found him guilty. Are you saying that you don't believe in the jury system anymore, Mr. President? And by the way, is your son stupid? He pled guilty to 6 tax evasion counts. So if that's selective prosecution, why didn't he take it to trial and say, this is a selective prosecution? So look, it's all about Joe Biden lying. He's starting and ending his presidency in the same way.
And Charlemagne the God said this today, right, Jessica, there's mixed reaction from the left on this. Where do you sit?
Yeah, there is. And I think that a lot of people are doing political jockeying, right? Like, if I'm thinking about running in the future, I want to be on record as saying this is an abuse of power. And maybe we should have a larger conversation about presidential pardons, because it seems like they're perhaps too sweeping, and that on your way out, you can just about do anything. I think that for a lot of rank and file Democrats, they actually would rather see Joe Biden do this, because this feels like Mitch McConnell vibes, someone who's like, we're not going to see Merrick Garland before Donald Trump comes into office, and I'm going to make sure that Supreme Court seat is open. It has more backbone than they're used to seeing from Joe Biden. He should have always said maybe, though, about this. It was, and I said, you guys asked me, well, do you believe him? And I said, I have no reason not to believe him, but you would think that any parent would be thinking in the back of their mind, I don't want my kid to go to jail. And if it's true what Karine Jean-Pierre said about the timing of this, I'm sure that this weekend the news rolled in that Charles Kushner is going to be the ambassador to France, a very cushy job, someone who was pardoned for what Chris Christie, who prosecuted him, called one of the most loathsome and disgusting crimes. I mean, the guy videotaped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the juxtaposition
he served time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he served time.
That's right. Kushner did. He paid his debt to society. Yeah. That's the end of it.
And the NBC News report, Jessica, says that, this is NBC News saying, that Biden was saying publicly, of course I'm not going to pardon him, but he was privately having conversations saying, of course it's on the table. And this is why no one believed him anyway. Now all the lies, I had the 4 lies, I'm going to add the 5th lie. And this is the one.
I don't disagree with it. He should have just always said, maybe, I don't know. I have to see where the chips fall on this. But one of the messages that came out of the election was that voters don't think Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy. They don't care about norms or any of the things that Democrats were campaigning on. And I think that Joe Biden just essentially said, on my way out, I don't care anymore, and I'm just going to protect my kid.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm buying all of that, but I want to hear what you think.
I'd protect
Jesse?
my kid if Jesse Jr. did something bad.
But you
I'd
probably wouldn't
him.
let him be on the board of Burisma and like send you a check for $300.
Probably not.
You wouldn't be your bag man.
I
Jesse
wouldn't
would
need the
definitely
money.
let him do that.
I wouldn't need the money like Joe Biden's family, who couldn't make
Do you
an
make
honest
that
buck.
much?
It's prime time.
Maybe my mom wouldn't pardon me, but I'm sure my father would. But that's the point: is that everybody knew he was going to pardon his son.
Right.
Even Jessica knew. But you didn't expect Joe Biden to lie? The man's lied his whole career, Jessica. Politicians lie. I mean, Democrats are now trying to wrap their heads around the fact that we're like, well, maybe we're not the party of moral superiority. Maybe we're not the party of Democrat ideals and principles. How many lies can you guys take? They lied about the laptop, the lab leak, the coup, now the pardon. Even Democrats are saying, I don't feel so great about these guys saying that they're the party of principle anymore. This guy and all the rest of these politicians prove time and time again, they're just like the regular, sleazy, scummy, corrupt politicians. They'll do anything.
So they're just like Trump.
They'll do anything. All politicians lie to protect their families, to protect their power, protect their money, Jessica. And anybody with a brain could see this coming a mile away. The difference is Trump wouldn't have lied about it. Trump comes in and Trump's like, yeah, I'm going to pardon J6ers. I'm going to fire the FBI director and I'm going to recess appoint my cabinet if the Senate gives me trouble. And you know what? He probably will. And people respect that. We want people that keep promises, not people who break promises. And this just proves the entire term was a cover-up. As the judge said, a blanket pardon to 14? Oh, just when the portfolio for Ukraine got handed to the big guy? What's that about, Jessica? Why would he need to go back that far? Think about it. This whole setup that they had was a big money laundering scheme. He'd go around the world, sell access to his dad, and then the FBI and the CIA would look to see who was trying to scam the U.S. government. And then ever notice that everybody around Hunter Biden is either in prison or on federal wiretaps? This whole thing was an intelligence operation.
When Jared Moskowitz asked James Comer, he said, I'll do it. Let's impeach Joe Biden. And James Comer flipped out, and no Republicans wanted to go on record about impeaching him because they didn't have it.
Donald Trump got impeached for looking into what Joe just pardoned his son for.
Yeah, but
you guys said it's okay for foreign nationals to bribe a first family?
Yeah, but how
and
many
as long as it doesn't hit the guy's checking account, and then a check hits the checking account, and you're like, oh, I don't know.
Let's get Charlie in.
Now, I know there has been a lot of discussion about this Hunter Biden pardon, the timing of it, whether or not this was the right thing to do politically from Joe Biden, but I don't want to hear any of that from MAGA. These people who have supported every act of lawfare. Donald Trump has committed every law. He's vile. The man is a convicted felon, and they supported him. So I don't want to hear anything from MAGA on that. And that is exactly the point that Jessica made and needs to be made. I saw Nikki Haley send a tweet today saying that it was unprincipled by Joe Biden. Nikki Haley, you don't have any principles. You will flip-flop for whatever is politically advantageous. You'll even turn on your husband who Donald Trump insulted, and then you turn around and endorse him. So I don't really think Nikki Haley has any leg to stand on criticizing the decision President Biden made again, whether you like it or not. With regards to protecting Hunter Biden from more political persecution from the Trump administration, but I think that's the most important way to frame this. And that's what I'd like to see Joe Biden do more of. I'd like to see him pardon Liz Cheney. I'd like to see him pardon Jack Smith, not because they committed crimes, but I'd like to see a very public effort to make it clear Joe Biden is doing so because he knows this Trump administration is about vengeance. It's something that I think President Biden failed to do when Donald Trump came to the White House. Of course, that is tradition. That's what happens. But I'd like to see a little bit more from President B saying, yes, he is the president-elect. Of course, we are going to follow tradition. There will be a peaceful transition of power, but believe you me, we won't be quiet about how dangerous he is. I think that's the argument that needs to be made. That's the most important argument, especially with these nominees coming out, like Kash Patel, who Jessica called out right here.
Sure. Bill Barr, who I know some people on the Republican side, or I guess the MAGA side, think of as squishy, now said that he would be the deputy director of the FBI over his dead body. Just want to make sure I get that correct. He is an avid children's book author. The Plot Against the King. Hillary's the villain. Okay. Send that for the holidays. Cleo could use it. He has a clothing line. He hawks anti-vax diet supplements. And he nearly botched a 2020 hostage rescue, a 27-year-old American who was being held in Nigeria. He fabricated the fact that the government over there knew about it. Mark Esper has spoken about this. But otherwise, I think he's totally qualified.
But they got the hostages out, right?
After. Do you think it's okay to
They got
lie?
it out, right?
I see
yeah,
how
so the
we're
hostage was rescued. So it wasn't really botched. What do you...
Kash Patel is a pathological liar, which is why he fits in so perfectly with Donald Trump. And there was a lot of great reporting. If you listen to the Bull Worker podcast, you heard some of this today from our friend Tim Miller. If you don't, I highly recommend some of the background on Kash Patel, some of his bio, and some of the time he spent in the Trump administration putting Americans in danger and doing really everything he can. This was the central theme of Kash Patel is he always wanted to be in the room with Donald Trump. He was doing everything he could to lie and flatter him because he understands whether you think he's smart or not, you probably not. But he does understand one thing, and that's flattery is the way to Donald Trump's heart. And that's what the entire Trump administration, once again, is going to be about. It's going to be about serving Donald Trump all the time. And always, it's not going to be about lowering the price of eggs. It's not going to be about investing in American infrastructure or building our economy out from the middle and out from the top down. No, it's not going to be anything to do with making American lives better. It's going to be about serving Donald Trump. It's going to be about persecuting his enemies. That, again, is why I think that when President Biden, as all presidents do, continue with pardons through the rest of his administration these weeks, we have left. He needs to do the job of explaining why, explaining that Donald Trump is a threat. And that's why he has to take these precautions. So a pardon for Liz Cheney, a pardon for Jack Smith, a pardon for anyone. And there are lots of people who I think Donald Trump will unfairly, of course, target with his DOJ, who he plans to weaponize. We've already seen it. He wanted Matt Gaetz to do it. He's going to have Pam Bondi do it. And we need to start talking about it now. And we're going to be doing that every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.